Bill Muncy coming on real hard now and finding a rough going out there as he's in behind 6 other boats. The Wahoo is in the center of the pack, moving over to take his favorite spot on the inside edge. The Spokane is coming up hard on the inside corner. And Muncy will be last through that far side of the course. Nitrogen coming over now. And Wahoo is coming over, coming fairly quick off the top part of the turn to the inside of the course. Miss Seattle coming up between boats now, and the Maverick comes around to the outside in good position. Muncy works himself down toward the narrow edge and finds a little water and comes around second high on the inside corner. Now they're beginning to get squared away, and Muncy goes to the inside corner as Wahoo lost the edge. And here we come, full boat speed, head on. Wahoo coming down now in between boats, along with Maverick. Wahoo first across the line. Miss Seattle, dead in the water, off the left-hand corner. Gale 5 was last across the line. Now let's go into that south corner and take a look at those boats, as Wahoo on the outside had about a half boat length lead on the Wahoo, which had the inside corner. Into the corner now, as Wahoo stays to the outside, and the Miss Seattle gets across the line, but she's laboring. Wahoo first through the corner, coming around real hard. It's a 2-boat field. The rest of them pretty well strung out. We'll get them corral for you. Maverick comes up now on the inside corner, and he almost spun her out. Maverick almost lost her, and the Wahoo comes on real hard on the outside. Let's go back to the field now, halfway up the backstretch. Your lead boat is the Miss Wahoo, driven by Mira Slovak. In second place is the Maverick. In third place is the Miss Spokane. In fourth place is Miss Tripway. And in fourth place is Nitrogen, battling it out with Gale 5. And Miss Seattle is back in the pack, last around the corner. Now as we go into the left-hand corner, the first of 10 times around the course. It's still a long race, friends. 10 laps in all. Slovak in Miss Wahoo, coming off the left-hand corner. Here you see him working through that north corner. Maverick hot on his tail as Wahoo comes hard off the exit buoy, the left-hand side, down to the 1,000-foot mark. Mira Slovak coming down now at the end of lap 1. Miss Wahoo. End of lap 1 for Maverick in second place. She is 5 seconds behind. In third place is Miss Spokane. In fourth place is the Miss Tripway. 114 miles an hour for the first time around the course. In fifth place is Gale 5. In sixth place is Nitrogen. And in seventh place, last out of the left-hand corner, is Miss Seattle, driven by Dallas Sykes. So here we go. Second place, Maverick, 5 seconds behind. In third place, Spokane, 9 seconds behind the leader. In fourth place, 16 seconds behind the leader, is Tripway. In fifth place, 21 seconds behind the leader, is Nitrogen. In sixth place, 22 seconds behind the leader, is Gale 5. And in seventh place is Miss Seattle, just across the line now at the end of her first lap. Your lead boat, halfway up the backstretch, the Wahoo, working real nicely. Boy, they really got that boat prepared. In second place, more than 5 seconds behind now, is the Maverick. And in third place is Miss Spokane. In fourth place is Miss Tripway. And Gale 5 is moving up now to move into solid contention on the Tripway boat. And then Nitrogen in sixth and Miss Seattle in seventh. Into the north turn now, the lead boat halfway through that top turn in his second time around the course. Wahoo, driven by Mira Slovak. He turned 114 miles an hour the first time around the course. Muncy begins to move up a little bit in Miss Tripway on Miss Spokane, who is easing off a little bit, going into the left-hand corner as Wahoo comes down to the 1,000-foot mark. Mira Slovak, 500 feet away from the end of his second lap. End of lap 2 for Miss Wahoo. She's the leader. Here comes the second place boat. That's the Maverick. That's the end of her second lap. 106 miles an hour. They're beginning to back off a little bit now and ease up. In third place, just past the 1,000-foot mark and coming down to the end of her second lap, is Miss Spokane. She is 17 seconds behind the leader. In fourth place is Miss Tripway, and she is 22 seconds behind the leader. She was 16 the last lap. In fifth place is Gale 5, and he is 27 seconds behind the leader. Here's your first place boat out of the south corner. Coming down across the line is Nitrogen now. He's quite a well back, and so is Miss Seattle. The first and second place boats off the south corner. That's Wahoo out in front, and Maverick, driven by Bill Stead, trails. He is back by 6 seconds as we're in the third lap. and the rest of the field pretty well strung out as they maintain position. The second place boat is Maverick, moving up now, trying to close up the gap between herself and Wahoo. The Miss Seattle just went by in last place. The third place boat is Miss Spokane, halfway up the backstretch in her third time around the course. In fourth place, halfway up the backstretch, is the Miss Tripway as she begins to come on. And in fifth place is Gale 5. In left turn, halfway through the left corner, we have the Miss Wahoo. And Muncie and Miss Tripway begins to make his drive on Spokane. Coming down off the exit buoy of the left-hand corner, the Wahoo still in first place, but Maverick is crowding her. Down to the 1,000-foot mark comes Miroslavak. He turned 114 and 106 miles an hour the first two times around. End of lap 3, your leader. And here's the race between Tripway and Miss Spokane for third place. Muncie is beginning to crowd on Miss Spokane, coming to the outside now, and they'll have a hot race at the 1,000-foot mark as Muncie and Miss Tripway makes his bid to take over third place at the end of lap 3. Miss Spokane is still in third place. Spokane is 26 seconds behind the leader. Tripway is in fourth place, 27 seconds behind the leader. And in fifth place is Gale 5. She's 33 seconds behind the leader. And the race for first and second as they come out of the right-hand corner, the Miss Wahoo, or you can drop that Miss because Bill calls her the Wahoo. She is some 6 seconds ahead of Maverick and has maintained that for the past 2 laps. Finished the first lap 5 seconds behind. Here's the race for third and fourth place. Tripway has gone now to the outside and has gone by and taken over third place in this, the 3.5 lap mark. Off the exit buoy, the Miss Spokane has dropped back to fourth place. Looks like she's having engine trouble out there and is having trouble getting acceleration off the corner. Tripway has now moved to third place, and our lead boat, the Wahoo, goes into the left-hand corner, closely pursued by Maverick. Bill Stetter's really sitting right there in the shadow of Wahoo, and the Miss Tripway begins to come up now on Maverick. We're in our fourth time around the course. In fifth place is Gale 5. In falling back is the Miss Spokane. Norm Evans is having trouble, and Nitrogen and Miss Seattle trail. Here's your first place boat at the end of her fourth lap, Wahoo, as she has turned 114, 106, and now 105 miles for this time around. Maverick over the line now in second place at the end of her fourth lap, 7 seconds behind the leader. She lost a second on that last round. In third place, coming off the exit buoy of her fourth time around the course, is the Miss Tripway. Bill Muncie takes her past the 1,000-foot mark, and let's see how far behind the leader she is. Miss Tripway is running in third place, 26 seconds behind the leader. Your fourth place boat is Gale 5, coming down to the end of her fourth lap, and she is 34 seconds behind the leader. Keep in mind the total elapsed time is a really important factor. Your first place boat coming off the right-hand corner, the Miss Wahoo. And the race for first and second, as you have the Maverick running in second place, and she almost spun around again coming off the exit buoy of the right-hand corner. The Wahoo halfway up the backstretch, running very nicely, averaging no less than 105 miles an hour around. Miss Spokane coming over on the line. She's in trouble. Spokane is in fifth place now, just tooling around out there, trying to stay alive. She's over a minute behind the leader. Wahoo going 3/4 of the way up the backstretch now into the entrance buoy, as Miss Seattle, running now in last place, gets across the line at the end of her fourth lap. There hasn't been a lapping out here yet. These boats are really hot dogs. The leader going through the top part of the left-hand corner in her fifth lap, Miroslavak. He's led from wire to wire, and the second place boat, 7 seconds behind, is Maverick, and the Miss Tripway coming up now into the entrance area of the north corner is nipping away at both of them. Miroslavak trying to hold on now, leading by some 6 or 7 seconds as he comes up to end the midway point of this first heat. Down past the 500-foot mark, over the line at the end of his fifth lap, Wahoo, driven by Miroslavak, is leading over second place Maverick, just coming across the line at the end of her fifth lap. Maverick in second place is 6 seconds behind the leader. 114, 106, 105, 105, and 104 halfway through the race. That's the way the first lap went for Wahoo, running in first place. The Miss Tripway coming down now at the end of her fifth lap in third place. She started in fourth. 24 seconds behind the leader. She has picked up 2 seconds. Gale 5 gets across the line in fourth place, 31 seconds behind the leader. Here's your race for first and second, coming around the south corner. Now the third place boat, Miss Tripway, moving into the entrance area of the south corner. Meanwhile, the Spokane is drifting further and further back, and there could be a lapping along about that north corner area as the lead boat, driven by Mira Slovak, moves the Wahoo halfway up the backstretch. Nitrogen moving through the south corner. I beg your pardon, the left-hand corner. And closely pursued by Miss Seattle as Dallas starts keep her rolling out there. Keeps in contention. Now we have a lapping on the far side of the course at the north turn as Wahoo goes by the Miss Spokane, who is in last place. Miss Seattle over the line in sixth place. Maverick running in second place now is coming up, and that's Spokane in between boats. She has been lapped by the lead boat, Wahoo, and now she'll get a lapping by the second place boat, Maverick. And Miss Thriftway is coming up now and has closed up that gap between herself and Maverick. Wahoo coming down at the end of her sixth lap. Maverick, at the end of the sixth lap, is running in second position, and she is now 6 seconds behind the leader. Your third place boat coming off the exit buoy of the left-hand corner, the Miss Thriftway, with Miss Spokane running to the outside of the course, coming by us in last place. She has been lapped by the first and second place boats, and Miss Thriftway is about to lap her about halfway down this inland chute. Thriftway, 21 seconds behind the leader, has now picked up another 3 seconds on Maverick. Gale 5, running in fourth place, 29 seconds behind the leader. Here's your race for first, second, and third. Coming off the exit buoy of the right-hand corner, the south corner of the Lake Washington course, we are in the seventh lap. Your lead boat is the Wahoo. She has led from wire to wire, getting a beautiful start, getting beautiful position, cutting over suddenly in between boats and going to the outside, which for Mira was something a little bit different. So the ex-Czechoslovakian takes Wahoo halfway up the backstretch, leading by some 6 seconds over the Maverick, who is closely pursuing her. Boy, there isn't too much between those two boats, and the Thriftway in this round seems to have fallen a little further behind. Muncie coming off the exit buoy of the right-hand corner halfway up the backstretch in his seventh time around the course, in third place in Miss Thriftway. Out of the north turn comes the Nitrogen, and then following her, the Miss Seattle. Nitrogen coming down now at the end of her sixth lap. She is 1 minute and 26 seconds behind the leader, and Seattle closely behind her in sixth place. Boats are getting pretty well spread out now, but your first three-place boats, and they're really in solid contention. Wahoo coming down now at the end of her seventh lap in first place. Over the line for Wahoo. She's had 103 miles an hour on the sixth lap. On the seventh lap, Maverick over the line now, 6 seconds behind the leader. They've maintained that 6-second differential right along. Your third place boat, the Miss Thriftway, looks like she's laboring a little bit out there. She comes to the 1,000-foot mark, and the Gale 5 is nipping at her and is coming down. Miss Thriftway coming across the line at the end of her seventh lap in third place, 24 seconds behind the leader. And the Gale 5 looks like she's going dead just off the start and finish line at the end of her seventh lap. The Gale 5 having trouble out there as Bill Cantrell gets her across the line to complete his seventh lap, 38 seconds behind the leader. Coming out of the left-hand corner is the boat that is last on the course, the Miss Spokane, as he keeps her tooling out there. There's going to be a lapping now by the lead boat Wahoo coming up on Miss Seattle on the outside corner. Wahoo laps the Miss Seattle on the backstretch as the Maverick is in second place, 6 seconds behind. We're in the eighth lap. A lapping by Wahoo at the three-quarter mark of the backstretch of the eighth time around the course. In seventh place is Miss Spokane. She is over 2 minutes behind the leader. Wahoo goes by Miss Seattle going into the north corner, and she could catch up with Don Dunnington in Miss Nitrogen eventually. The second place boat is Maverick, moving very slowly into the north corner. And the Wahoo comes down now on the outside as Miss Seattle pinches her from the inside, but Mira cuts her off and comes down to the inside corner. Don Dunnington coming down now to finish his seventh lap in fifth place. The Nitrogen is quite a distance behind the leader, over 2 minutes. Wahoo completing her eighth lap in first position. And the Maverick coming down now will get a lapping on Miss Seattle at the end of her eighth lap. Maverick is some 6 seconds behind the leader. They haven't changed for the last 5 laps. 6 seconds has been the difference. 5 at the end of the first lap. Miss Thriftway coming down to the 1,000-foot mark, running in third place. She was 24 seconds behind the leader at the end of her seventh lap. Here at the end of the eighth lap, the Miss Thriftway is 24 seconds behind the leader. coming out of the south corner. The lead boat, and we have another boat in trouble out there as the Wahoo goes by her, and there's a lapping on the outside as some of the boats are really getting in trouble. Slovak going to the outside, and the Miss Spokane still tooling around halfway up the backstretch. There could be a lapping on her again by Wahoo. Oh, that Slovak kid is driving a race out there. Up comes the Maverick, 6 seconds behind, as the Wahoo gets a lapping again on Spokane, and preceding that, a lapping on the Nitrogen. Wahoo, your lead boat, as Maverick begins to make her drive now on the Wahoo. Bill Stead comes up now to make his drive, coming to the inside corner now, and laps two boats coming up that inside corner as Bill Stead makes his drive now on Wahoo. Coming into the left-hand corner, Miss Tripway lapping by the Gale 5, which has dropped back now with bad engine trouble, but is still moving slowly along. Tripway is running in third place on the far side of the course. Wahoo coming down now off the exit buoy is closely pursued by Maverick, who tried to take it up on her as they move now to the 10th and final lap, with Wahoo still maintaining her leadership, and Maverick goes out after her. Wahoo at the end of her 9th lap, still in first place. In second place, Maverick. Starting her 10th and final lap, she is 5 seconds behind the leader. Don Dunnington gets across the line at the end of his 8th lap in 4th place. And the Miss Spokane, who has been lapped by Dunnington, is running in last place. Back of her is the Miss Seattle. And Miss Tripway, the 3rd place boat, is coming up the inside corner. The race for first and second between Wahoo and Maverick in the south corner. Miss Tripway, the 3rd place boat, is going to lap Miss Seattle on the inside on the inland chute as they go to the south corner. The 1st and 2nd place boats moving up the backstretch. Wahoo out in front, closely pursued by Maverick, with Tripway running in 3rd place, 27 seconds behind the leader. We're in the 10th and final lap. Wahoo now moving out, stretching his lead a little bit on Maverick, but brother Bill Stead isn't giving him any room. He's making him run an honest race right from start to finish. He's really made him bore on. Into the north turn, we see the Gale 5, and brother, she's planked right down there in the middle of the course, still tooling around very slowly. Bill Cantrell hasn't moved her to the outside of the course, which is normal mostly when a boat is in trouble. So let's see whether Wahoo gets in any sort of trouble going by the disabled Gale 5. We're moving through the 10th and final lap. Your 1st and 2nd place boats. 1st place Wahoo, 2nd place Maverick, and in 3rd place, about halfway up the backstretch, 24 seconds behind the leader, is the Miss Tripway. Coming down now to the end of her 10th lap is the Wahoo, driven by Mira Slovak. He'll pick up 400 points. Down past the 500 mark and a lapping of Gale 5, and over the line goes Wahoo, winner of Heat 1A. In 2nd place is the Maverick, just going by the Gale. He finished 6 seconds behind the leader. And the Gale 5 is still tooling around out there. He'll try to make it off the course and complete. Miss Tripway coming up now, charging hard, and there could be a lapping on Don Dunnington in the Miss Nitrogen by the Miss Tripway. Bill comes off the exit buoy, left-hand corner. You're watching the 52nd Annual Gold Cup Regatta from Lake Washington in Seattle. This telecast, another sports highlight seen throughout the year on this channel.
This telecast is brought to you as a public service by 6 Rainier Brewing Company, Seattle.
Miss Tripway finished in 3rd place. She finished 34 seconds behind the leader. We still have several boats in the course who have been lapped out there, and the next place boat that should be over, barring unforeseen accidents, will be the Nitrogen. She is in 4th place and probably over 2 minutes behind the leader at this moment. She has moved very steadily from 5th. She dropped off to 6th for 3 laps. We're talking about the Nitrogen now. Then she moved to 5th, and now she's in 4th. The Miss Spokane still on the course. Everybody's still moving out there. The 7 that started. The Wahoo was the winner. Maverick was in 2nd place. 3rd place went to Tripway. 4th place will go to Nitrogen as soon as he finishes this 10th and final lap. Bill Muncy and Miss Tripway still moving along fairly hard as he moves halfway up the backstretch, cooling off his engine. Now he eases up a little bit, and Mira Slovak on the outside of the course gets the plot of the boys along the log boom area. Oh, he got a beautiful start on that race. His average was 105.9, which is going to give him a pretty fast lap average and a good totally lap time. Everybody predicted that this heat would be a real skimmer as far as speed was concerned. The Miss Tripway is, all the boats here on the left-hand side of the course are, 2 of them anyway, the Maverick and the Miss Tripway are are still moving around out here. Don Dunnington is moving wide and getting ready to finish his 10th lap, and he'll wind up in 4th position. The Maverick has gone back to the pit area. Don Dunnington comes over in the nitrogen, getting 4th place. Your 5th place boat is Miss Seattle, who got off to a miserable start, starting in 7th, worked her way up through the field. She is now 5th, as she is in her 10th and final lap. Let's see, yes. Meanwhile, we have 2 other boats left on the course, the Spokane and the Gale 5. In 5th place is the Miss Seattle, driven by Dallas Sarts, who kept her alive out there and gets a 5th place finish. And that's the former Slow Motion 5, and I imagine Lou Fazel was quite happy about that. 2 minutes, 53 seconds behind the leader was Miss Seattle. She finished in 5th place for Heat 1A. We have 2 boats still alive on the course out there, and in fact, I'm checking around now as the Gale 5 is out there. Let's check in with Tommy Dargan. Hawaii Kai is in trouble out there. She was bouncing and weaving around, and Brian brought her back under control. Tripway was third. Tripway 2 was third over the line. First over the line was the Gale 6 with Freddie Alder at the wheel, and boy, that'll be a big one to follow in behind. Now let's see as they go to that corner. Gale 6 seems to be first through the bottom part of the corner. Tripway 2 is running in 3rd place. There's a boat on the outside of the spray as they move through that corner. Now the Tripway 2 comes up real hard. And we'll check off the rooster tails for you. Gale 6 running out in 1st place. And the Hawaii Kai comes off the corner in 2nd place. Hawaii Kai in 2nd place. The Gale 6 is in 1st. Calroy is 3rd. And the Hawaii Kai is really cutting over there pretty badly. Here's your race for 3rd and 4th place as the Miss U.S. comes up between boats and takes over in 3rd place. And we're trying to check off and find out where the Tripway 2 is. She evidently is still down on the south part of the course, down in the water in the south corner. That's all for Tripway 2 for this moment, unless you can get her started. Coming off the left-hand corner, the Gale 6 with Freddie Alder at the wheel, getting off to a beautiful start. Coming down now to the 1,000-foot mark is the Gale 6, 500 feet away from the end of lap 1. Gale 6. Over the line in 2nd place is the Hawaii Kai. Hawaii Kai is 2nd, 5 seconds behind the 1st place boat. In 3rd place is Miss U.S. driven by Donnie Wilson. He is 16 seconds behind the leader at the end of his 1st lap. And in 4th place is Calroy. In 5th place is Pay and Save. The lead boat going through the south corner. Freddie Alder in Gale 6 and Hawaii Kai closely pursuing him. Freddie got off to a beautiful start, and we surmise that it's a legal start, although we haven't heard from the officials as yet. They'll have to develop the picture and let us know, but Freddie was close on that line, brother. Halfway up the backstretch, Gale 6 with Freddie Alder at the wheel. And in 2nd place is Hawaii Kai. And in 3rd place is the Miss U.S. And Tripway 2 is still dead in the water off the south corner. The lead boat going into the 3/4 mark of the backstretch. And closer behind him is the Hawaii Kai. This is the 2nd of 10 times around the course. Gale 6 moving into the north corner. And in 3rd place is Miss U.S. And she's having it going pretty rough over there. In 4th place is Calroy. In 5th place is Pay and Save. And Bill Muncie dead in the water off the south corner. Here's the race for 1st and 2nd coming off the left-hand corner, the north side of the course. Gale 6 holding on real hard. Freddie giving her a real great ride coming down to the end of lap 2 at the 1,000-foot mark. Gale 6, end of lap 2, the leader. Over in 2nd place is Hawaii Kai. Hawaii Kai is 5 seconds behind the leader in 2nd place. Your 3rd place boat is Miss U.S. For the first 2 times around the course, 105 and 102 miles an hour for the leader, Gale 6. In 4th place is the Calroy. 3rd place is U.S., 13 seconds behind the leader. We're in the 3rd lap. U.S. in 3rd place, Calroy in 4th place. coming down now to finish her run at the end of her second lap. Moving through the south corner, Gale 6 coming off the exit buoy, and Hawaii Kai running in second place, with Miss U.S. now beginning to charge up on Hawaii Kai in the race for second and third place. Colroy has finished her second lap in fourth place. She's 43 seconds behind the leader. In fifth place is Pay and Save, 51 seconds behind the leader. And the Swiftway 2 and Breathless are out of it at the time. Now here's a race for second and third as Miss U.S. begins to make the drive on Brian Weigel in Hawaii Kai. U.S. moves into second place and charges after Freddie Alder. So you have two Detroit boats running 1-2 in the Heat 1B. We're in the third time around the course. Sounds like Hawaii Kai is having a little engine trouble over there. Three of the boats are in the north side of the course, two are in the south end of the course. Colroy and Pay and Save are down the south end. The lead boat, Freddie Alder, coming off the north corner, past the exit buoy. And the race for 1, 2, and 3. In second place is the U.S., and Hawaii Kai is in third. Down to the end of her third lap in first place goes Gale 6. And in second place is the Miss U.S., driven by Donnie Wilson. He is 6 seconds behind the leader. In third place, Hawaii Kai. Sounds like he's got a tough engine. Hawaii Kai is 17 seconds behind the leader. Fourth place coming through the north corner just now is the Colroy, over a minute behind the leader, and Pay and Save is in fifth place. Two of the boats are out of it. Swiftway 2 is dead on the south corner, and Breathless never did get started. Here's the race for first and second off the south corner. We're in the fourth lap. 6 seconds differentiating between the Miss U.S. and now Miss U.S. begins to charge on the Gale. Gale 6 starts to take off now as the U.S. goes to the outside and attempts to come up on her, and this the fourth time around the course. In fourth place, Colroy just finishes her third lap. We're in the fourth of 10 times around the course. It's a two-boat field at the moment. Pay and Save in fifth place is next across the line. She is a minute and 7 seconds behind the leader. 3/4 of the way up the backstretch. Gale 6 moving into the entrance area of the north corner. And the U.S. charges up on her. Moves to the outside. Doesn't save much ground there. Watch them as they come through there. Notice the U.S. Boy, almost hooked it and lost it. But he's coming up on him, though. And Gale 6 loses it. Starts to drift a little bit. And Freddie rides through the rooster tail and makes it the rough way as Donnie Wilson comes on real hard now. Here comes Donnie Wilson as he makes his bid against Gale 6, a couple of Detroit boats. Gale 6 over the line in first place. And Donnie Wilson giving the U.S. a tremendous ride out there as he begins to crawl up on him, but that front end is lifting off the water as they go down the inland chute toward the south corner. Into the south corner now goes the lead boat. The U.S. is in second place, trailing by 2 seconds. They go to the south corner. The U.S. is starting to come out of the corner and is in first place. The Gale 6 has dropped off halfway through that south corner, and the U.S. has taken over, coming off the south corner. A quarter of the way up the backstretch, U.S. is now leading as we're in the fifth lap. U.S. was 2 seconds behind as she came across the line at the end of her fourth lap. And now in this, the fifth lap, the U.S. is running out in front. U.S., which had been running third and then moved to second, has now moved to first place as Donnie Wilson gives her a tremendous ride out there. Gale 6 is running in second place. Colroy is running in fourth place, just now coming across the line at the end of her fourth lap. Into the north turn goes the lead boat, Miss U.S., as the Pay and Save finishes her fourth lap in fifth place. The Breathless 2 being towed off here, Jay Murphy looking out on the water, a very disconsolate young man. Coming off the north corner now, running in first and second place, the U.S., followed by the Gale 6. The U.S. coming down now, 500 feet away from the end of her fifth lap in first place. And in second place is Gale 6. Gale 6 is 9 seconds behind the leader. as we're starting the 6th lap of activity. Swiftway 2 is in the south turn. And here's Hawaii Kai coming off the left-hand side and is getting ready to finish off this lap in 3rd place. And brother, her engine sounds real bad. Here's the race for 1st and 2nd coming out of the south corner. Hawaii Kai just going by in 3rd place. U.S. is leading and has opened up a little bit of margin on the 2nd place boat, Gale 6. And into the north turn now, the Pay and Save starts to make its bid on Colroy and moves into 4th place. In this, her 5th time around the course. The U.S. is running in 1st place in her 6th lap. The 2nd place boat is Gale 6. She is 9 seconds behind the leader. 3rd place is Hawaii Kai, 37 seconds behind the leader. 4th and 5th is occupied by the Pay and Save and by Colroy. Pay and Save coming down now as the lead boat goes into the north corner. Pay and Save has moved up a notch. 5 out of the 7 boats that started this heat are still alive out there. U.S. coming off the exit buoy, the left-hand corner. And it's strictly a 2-boat field at this moment as we're in our 7th time around the course in Heat 1B. Swiftway 2 and Breathless are out of it. Swiftway 2 lasted just to the south corner. U.S. over the line now at the end of her 6th lap, running in 1st place. Your 2nd place boat coming down now off the exit buoy, the left-hand corner, at the 1,000-foot mark. Freddie Alder in the Gale 6. 100 miles an hour for the 6th time around. U.S. running 106 in her 5th lap. The 3rd place boat just coming off the exit buoy of the left-hand corner. She is quite a distance behind the leader. She was 37 seconds behind at the end of her 5th lap. Now at the end of her 6th lap, she'll probably be better than 40 seconds behind. The battle for 1st and 2nd out of the south corner. U.S. is leading, and the U.S. is leading in this race over the Gale 6 by some 12 seconds. Hawaii Kai getting across the line, 42 seconds behind the leader. And the Hawaii Kai looks like he's turning off the course. He's lost his prop, evidently. He's turned off the course. Hawaii Kai is out of it at the end of 6 1/4 lap. Running in 3rd place, she goes down in the water just off the start and finish line buoy marker, about a quarter of the way down the course. That's Hawaii Kai. Brian Weigel waving his helmet, say it's okay. And then he climbs out of the boat to take a look around. He goes back to the stern part. Now, if we're willing to take the word of Colonel Rush Slay, he knows you lose that prop out there. And the Pay and Save comes out of the left-hand corner now as the boats begin to spring out, and the 1st place boat just goes into the north corner. The lead boat moving into the left-hand side. That's U.S., followed by Gale 6 in 2nd place. So we have a total of 4 boats left out of the 7 that started this heat. U.S. coming down to the 1,000-foot mark. Colroy going across the line in 5th place, 1 minute and 39 seconds behind the leader. She started in 4th. U.S. finishing her 7th lap in 1st place. She started in 2nd. Off the exit buoy comes the Gale 6. Down to the finish line at the end of her 7th lap in 2nd place. She was 12 seconds behind at the end of her 6th lap. She's now 15 seconds behind as they start the 8th lap of a 10-lap race, Heat 1B. In the matter of speed, 100 miles an hour for the 7th time around for Miss U.S. She had 100 miles an hour for the 6th time and 106 for the 5th time. Prior to that, Freddie Alder had 105, 102, 102, and 100 even. So this heat isn't going to approximate anything like what we had in the first one. Into the north turn. Here's your lead boat. The U.S. running very easily now, coming halfway up the backstretch. And there'll be a lapping on the Colroy. U.S. goes by the Colroy at the 3/4 mark of the backstretch. U.S. is leading, and Freddie Alder in Gale 6 has fallen a little further behind. He was 15 seconds behind at the end of his 7th lap, and he'll be better than 15, probably better than 18 at this moment. We're in our 8th lap, the lead boat, U.S., with the Pay and Save just out front, finishing up her 7th lap. Pay and Save has now moved to 3rd place. minute and 34 seconds behind the leader. Coast Guard boat is giving Hawaii Kai a tow out there. U.S. is coming down now, having lapped over the Conroy. At the 500-foot mark, the U.S. running out in front in Heat 1B at the end of her 8th lap. And her speed in that 8th lap was 99 miles an hour. The second place boat, Freddie Alder in Gale 6, coming down across the 1,000-foot mark. 500 feet away from the end of her 8th lap, running in second place. She was 15 seconds behind at the end of her 7th lap. She is now 18 seconds behind. Good guess, eh, Phil? The first place boat going into the south corner, U.S. The U.S., driven by Donnie Wilson, happens to pick her up in the backstretch. The Pay and Save, who at the moment is running in third place with the Hawaii Kai out of it at the end of 6 1/4 laps, just off the start and finish line area. The Pay and Save on the far side of the course, about halfway up the backstretch, and the Pay and Save at this moment is running in her 8th lap. But the lead boat, Miss U.S., just coming off the corner and a quarter of the way up the backstretch, and well out in front by some 18 seconds over the second place boat, the Gale 6, driven by Freddie Alder out of Detroit. The U.S. is running out in front by some 18 seconds in her 9th lap. There could be a lapping on the Pay and Save, who is just now moving into the north corner area. And the U.S., the leader, comes up into the entrance area of the north turn. Conroy, who has been lapped by the lead boat, is split between the first and second place boats, and the Gale 6 could eventually get up and lap the Conroy also. But Bobby Larson is driving nice and steadily out there with the Conroy, and that boat finishes a lot of heats, and a lot of these other so-called hot dogs don't finish. The U.S. coming out of the left-hand corner as the Pay and Save goes across the line in third place. She is a minute and 34 seconds behind the leader as the Miss U.S. comes down now at the end of her 9th lap and gets ready to start her 10th and final lap. U.S. and the second place boat with Freddie Alder at the wheel. The Conroy comes down now. She's running in 4th place at the end of her 8th lap. She is probably about a minute and a half, almost 2 minutes behind the leader. Here's Freddie Alder in Gale 6 coming down across the line, and the lead boat going into the south corner. 24 seconds behind the leader in second place. Gale 6 moving down to the south corner in her 10th and final time around the course. We haven't heard as yet, have we, Lloyd, that it was official start or a legal start? We haven't heard from the officials that it was a legal start. We'll have to assume that it was. We could assume that it wasn't, too, I suppose. Nothing's legal until we hear it from the officials. Well, they're pretty well strung out here. We have 4 boats left in this heat. The U.S., the lead boat, halfway up the backstretch. In her last time around the course, she had 101 miles an hour. The slowest lap that the U.S. has had, 99 miles an hour. U.S. 3/4 of the way up the backstretch now in her 10th and final time around the course. And the second place boat, Freddie Alder, in the Gale 6, coming off the exit buoy of the right-hand corner. Here's Hawaii Kai, dead in the water at the end of 6 1/4 laps. And we assume that she lost her prop. The lead boat coming off the exit buoy of the north corner, just ahead of her was the Pay and Save. Pay and Save is in third place, finishing up her 9th lap. She has 1 more to go. Here comes the lead boat now, winner of Heat 1B, U.S., driven by Donnie Wilson at the 1,000-foot mark. Here she rides. Donnie gave her a great ride. Whoopsie-daisy. Over the line goes U.S. 1, getting a first-place finish out of a race that saw her start in third place, 16 seconds behind the leader. She moved up through the field and took over command at the end of the 4th lap. She was number 1 for the rest of the race. Gale 6, who started in 1, went to second place at that 5th lap juncture, and now is finishing her 10th and final lap. She'll be better than 30 seconds behind the leader, probably. Here she comes now. Over the line goes Gale 6, second place winner in Heat 1B. She finished 28 seconds behind the leader. The winner of Heat 1B was the Miss U.S., driven by Donnie Wilson. He gets 400 points. And second place to Gale 6, who was 28 seconds behind the leader. This is the action of Seattle's 9th major unlimited hydroplane regatta, the annual Gold Cup Classic, being held in Lake Washington in Seattle. Pay and Save is still on the course, and so is the Conroy. The Pay and Save is running in third place. She is now in her 10th lap. moving through the north corner area. And the Colroy is just coming off the exit buoy of the right-hand corner, and she also is in her 10th lap. So she'll get a 4th place finish out of it, and Pay and Save will get a 3rd place finish. Meanwhile, the Gale 6 is still on the course out there, cooling off her engines. Freddie Alder getting a 2nd place finish out of the episode. U.S. coming into the pit area. Meanwhile, the Pay and Save comes down to finish in 3rd place. Pay and Save, driven by Chuck Hickling, finishes a minute and 43 behind the leader. The winner of the heat, U.S. 1, driven by Donnie Wilson from Detroit. And all but Wahoo are not on the course. You'll remember that last year that Wahoo sat over there with a bad carburetor. All right, they're within the 1 minute period. Wahoo is still sitting over by the pit area. Meanwhile, the boats are over on the far side of the course. Thriftway is up in the middle of the pack, coming up on the inside of the corner. Gale 6 is first around the top part of the north turn.
There it goes.
And there is...
No, he's down again.
Oh, he hasn't got it started. All right, Tom, you keep me checked on that one, and we'll get
All right.
these boats squared away. You just cut in anytime you want to.
All right, Bill.
Gale 6 goes wide to the outside. Thriftway is coming up between boats now. Coming up and will be second across on the corner. Bill is coming just about to the same position he was in before. Gale 6 is going extremely wide again. Now Thriftway pushes the Miss Seattle out and takes over in 2nd place. The Miss Spokane is up on the inside corner. Bill has good position and is coming down now and getting full boat speed. Here comes Freddie Alder and Gale 6 on the outside corner. They're up there real hard. There's the gun. There's the start. Miss Spokane first across the line on the inside corner. Breathless will flash across, and the Wahoo is still sitting dead off the pit area. Miss U.S. was last across the line. Into the right-hand corner now come those boats. Let's take a look at them. That's Miss Spokane on the inside corner. Thriftway was third going down on the inside. The Wahoo is up and started. And she will get across the line, and she will start in last place. And she'll be at least 45 seconds behind the leader. Thriftway comes to the inside corner, coming off the exit buoy, fighting hard for 2nd place with Freddie Alder, who is on the outside corner. In 1st place is the Miss Spokane with Norm Evans at the wheel. Miss Spokane in 1st place, halfway up the backstretch. Here comes the Wahoo. Mira Slovak coming now to try to fight his way through the field. He has 10 laps to do it. 3/4 of the way up the backstretch. The Miss Spokane and the Miss Thriftway. Here's a replica of the Coeur d'Alene race as Bill Muncy drives in this first time around the course. Gale 6 has slipped back to 3rd. Spokane in the north corner in the first of 10 times around the course. Bill Muncy will be driving hard to get his total lap time up. He'll be driving hard to get a 1st place so he can be in solid contention for that 3rd 30 miles. Muncy coming around real hard now, trying to stay down inside. And he cuts off the Freddie Alder, and Alder has to drop back. Down to the 1,000-foot mark comes the Miss Spokane. In 1st place at the end of lap 1. In 2nd place at the end of his 1st lap is Bill Muncy and Thriftway. In 3rd place is Gale 6, 9 seconds behind the leader. Muncy is 6 seconds behind in Thriftway. In 4th place, here comes the Miss Seattle. Into the right turn, Miss Spokane. And she is trailed by Thriftway, 6 seconds behind. And behind her is Freddie Alder. That's the Thriftway that went by. Now here's the 3rd place boat, Gale 6. You can see the riding difficulty that Freddie is having when he gets caught back in the pack. And Wahoo is coming down across the, out of the exit buoy, the left-hand side. Breathless is out of it, and the Wahoo is now in 6th place. Here's your 1st place boat, halfway up the backstretch. Miss Spokane, and the Miss Thriftway is coming hard after her. Bill Muncy and Thriftway now is driving hard on Miss Spokane. Here's a replica of that duel between these two boys that happened over there at Coeur d'Alene. Bill is less than 6 seconds behind. Bill drives harder past the deceleration buoy now in Miss Thriftway and picks up a little ground on the Spokane, which finds some rough water out there. Bill is always considered to be excellent in the turns. Let's see if he can pick up any time. He overturned himself a little bit the last time around. Here comes Norm. He's staying down tight to that buoy. Muncy goes to the outside and Miss Thriftway. and still can't pick up too much ground as Norm in Miss Spokane gives her a tremendous ride. Muncie seems a little slow in acceleration coming off the corner. Down to the 1,000 foot mark in first place, Miss Spokane. End of lap number 2. Spokane is leading. Thriftway comes over the line now in second place. Still 6 seconds behind the leader. In third place, we have the Gale 6 driven by Freddie Alder, and he is 14 seconds behind the leader. 105 miles an hour around. Spokane had 110 the first time around the course. Here's your race for first and second as they go into the south corner. Miss Spokane on the inside. And the big interest around here, I might probably point out to you just in passing, here's the Mara Slovak is driving like a maniac out of here in 6th place. Here he comes out of that north corner. Wahoo had a cracked frame, we understand. All right, Mira's driving, coming on real hard, and everybody's looking to him. I think most of the spectators are paying no attention. Wahoo, 54 seconds behind the leader at the end of his first lap, is now 49 seconds behind the leader, has picked up one position as Breathless 2 is out of it. Meanwhile, there is a big battle on for first and second place, as Thriftway has narrowed the margin now between himself and the Spokane. Meanwhile, the rest of the field is pretty well backed. Freddie Alder in Gale 6 is in third place. And in fourth place is Miss US 1. Miss Seattle's in fifth. And Wahoo, who is coming up hard on Miss Seattle, is in sixth place. He'll take over fifth in that backstretch. Now, as we go through the north corner, the Spokane has Miss Thriftway coming up hard, and he's turned down too hard inside that buoy. He's lost speed. Now he's coming down real tight to the inside corner. Muncie goes to the outside now. Miss Thriftway trying to come up on him. He's picked up ground on him this time around. In third place is Freddie Alder. He's fallen back a little further. Muncie again slow in his acceleration coming off the corner. Over the line at the end of his third lap. And the Miss Wahoo has taken over. In place of Miss Seattle. Thriftway is now 7 seconds behind the leader. Gale 6 coming off the corner. And looks like Gale 6 is having trouble. She's coming down real slow here at the end of her third lap. She was 14 seconds behind the leader at the end of her second lap. In the south turn, your leader in this Heat 2A, Miss Spokane, driven by Norm Evans, who had 95 points on a 7th place finish. You heard the reason for the failure of his boat the last time around. The Miss US comes across the line now. She is sitting in 4th place at the end of her third lap, 37 seconds behind the leader. And the Wahoo has now moved up into 5th place. Starting 54 seconds behind the leader, Wahoo has moved into 5th place, 47 seconds behind the leader. Miss Seattle has slipped back to 5th. Here comes the Breathless. She'll get around now. Let's go back through the field now, halfway through the backstretch. In his 4th lap is the Miss Spokane, leading by some 6 seconds at the end of his last lap over the Miss Thriftway, who picks up good ground in that backstretch now, but fails to get it on the corners as Norm does a tremendous job. And Muncie literally lifts his front end right out of the water, Miss Thriftway trying to come on to him. The Breathless is dead in the water over here, just off the start and finish line bar. In third place, we have the Miss US 1. Now moved up as Gale 6 has fallen back in the field. And the Wahoo has moved to 4th place and has moved up now and is charging up on the field as the 6 falls back. Here's your race for first and second. Down to the finish line of his 5th lap, or 4th lap, I beg your pardon, is Spokane. Miss Thriftway is in 2nd place. Thriftway is 6 seconds behind. We're in the 5th lap. Spokane the leader. Thriftway is in 2nd place, 6 seconds behind as they go to the south corner. The 3rd place boat is the Wahoo. Into the south turn goes the lead boat. Miss Spokane, closely pursued by Thriftway, driven by Bill Muncie. Your 3rd place boat is the Wahoo, who's worked his way up to the field. Freddie Alder and Gale 6 has dropped back. I don't see the Miss Seattle out here at the moment. There she is. She's still pursuing her course up the far side. Wahoo coming down across the line now. He has moved up into 3rd place. And the battle for first and second off the exit buoy off the south corner as Muncie starts to charge on the Miss Spokane. He's moving up slowly but surely, although the time wouldn't indicate it. So it's been 6 and 7 seconds consistently. Here is Muncie making his drive at the midway point, 4.5 laps. And we go into the latter part of the 5th lap, and the Miss Thriftway is coming up real hard on the Miss Spokane. Looks like he might be able to pass him if he keeps on the way he's going. Meanwhile, the Gale 6 limps across the line, and the Gale 6 will be in 4th place. And the Miss Seattle closely behind her. The Miss Thriftway goes to the outside corner through the north corner. It is Muncie in Miss Twipway going to the outside now. As he comes back, and they'll be virtually dead even, as Norm Evans cuts across now and drops his rooster tail and cuts Bill off and shoves him out. And Muncie goes to the outside, and boy, if I know Muncie, he'll really be steaming on that one. Miss Twipway coming to the outside now, and Billy really sticks on it now, as Norm Evans is here virtually even at the end of the fifth lap. Muncie goes by him. As they go down to the south corner, here they are. As they move to the south corner, Muncie on the outside, Miss Spokane on the inside. As Bill Muncie comes to the outside now, and they are virtually dead even going into that south corner. Norm let his boat drift wide and cut Bill off and shoved him over to the side. And Norm Evans holds off the challenge as they go through the south corner. In this, their sixth time around the course. Muncie driving to the outside now as Evans sticks it to it, and Muncie is losing a little ground through that corner, has fallen back about 3 boat lengths. Now Muncie once again to the outside of Miss Twipway takes on Norm Evans. In third place, 39 seconds behind the leader, is Wahoo. He's done a great job. Meanwhile, the Miss Seattle is also left on the course, and so is Gale 6. Here is the race for first and second as they go halfway up the backstretch. Muncie coming to the outside once again, closely pursuing the Miss Spokane, driven by Norm Evans. This is an exact duplicate of their duel over there at Coeur d'Alene. Muncie coming now on the straightaway, moving on very slowly but surely, and this time hoping to be able to get in there and to be able to cut over. The Twipway moves out of the three-quarter point of the backstretch. Now Muncie is on the outside still, and he must have more boat room in order to cut over on him. Muncie now begins to move away, and Miss Twipway in the top part of that turn. This is going to be close. The Gale 6 moves to the outside. They'll be lapping by these two boats as Muncie drives down on him and cuts him off and drives him inside. The two of them virtually dead even, and the Miss Spokane looked like she hit the buoy over there. Muncie in Miss Twipway comes down now, about 2 boat lengths out in front. At the end of the 6th lap, Twipway is out in front. Wahoo, dead in the water. And the Gale 6 comes across the line, but she's been lapped by both the first and second place boats. Muncie and Miss Twipway takes over as we begin the 7th lap. Spokane 1 second behind at the end of the 6th lap. A tremendous two-boat duel out there as Muncie moves into the south corner, and there could be a lapping on Miss Seattle as they go through that south corner. Here is the Twipway moving now into the corner, and you can see a boy whose talent at turning seems to be the best in the business. Watch him work those hands. Watch him work those that boat around there. He drives to a definite set pattern. He'll get through there in 12.5 to 13 seconds. He has moved well out in front of Miss Spokane as they're in their 7th lap. Muncie in the Miss Twipway, moving to the outside now, coming back down in hard across that exit buoy as Miss Spokane comes back at him and challenges real hard. Incidentally, the speeds on the 110, 105, 105, 104, and 106 and 105 for the Twipway and the Spokane in their two-boat duel. We're in the 7th time around the course. Spokane hit a buoy on the 6th mile, unofficially as far as we're concerned. You can't comment until the officials tell you. Wahoo is dead in the water. Muncie is really riding that boat hard over there as he gets through some rough slop with the Miss Twipway, but she is considered to have excellent riding ability. He's now moving up, and there could be a lapping on Miss Seattle as they move through the north corner on this, the 7th time around the course. Muncie coming around now, trying to perform a lapping on the Miss Seattle, who is not giving ground to the inside. Muncie has to go wide to the outside and loses a little ground to Spokane, running in 2nd place. Muncie runs wide to get out of the bad water, and the Miss Twipway starts to come down to the 1,000-foot mark at the end of her 7th lap, running in 1st place. Seattle is in 3rd place. There's the lapping. And here's your lead boat coming down to the south corner. How would you like to be riding a boat like that, friend? Miss Spokane. Miss Spokane comes into the over the line, and the Wahoo is out of it evidently, and US is out of it. Now we're in the south corner. Here's the Miss Twipway moving through the south corner on her 8th time around the course. Miss Twipway, leading in the race now, has pulled out well in front of the Miss Spokane, who is now trailing by some 11 seconds at the end of her 7th lap. Gale 6 is creeping along out here, and Gale 6 is in 4th position, largely by default, but brother, it sounds like a sick engine to me. The lead boat halfway up the backstretch. Bill Muncie backing off, but not too much. He had 104 miles around the last time. Miss Seattle will get lapped perhaps by Miss Spokane somewhere in this backstretch. And the Miss Twipway, with a 3rd place finish in her first heat, is moving through the north corner now, leading in this race by some 12 or 15 seconds. And sounds like Bill's having a little trouble with his boat as he moves through that north corner. The water seems a little bit rough for him. And now he begins to pick up a little bit. He doesn't want to lose too much time. He wants that total elapsed time factor, because with the Miss Wahoo out of it, he comes down in a real good position. The Miss Seattle is holding on to her position as the Miss Spokane evidently is running into a little trouble over there. Down to the 1,000-foot mark comes your lead boat at the end of her 8th lap, Tripway. Getting across the line in first place at the end of her 8th lap. Coming out of the north corner now is the Miss Seattle. She is running in 3rd place. An amazing performance for a boat that is 9 years old, and Dallas Sarch, her pilot, is certainly to be congratulated. Norm Evans on the outside trying to get up to her and get a lapping on, but he's fallen further behind the lead boat, who's now going into the south corner. Here's Muncie going to the south corner. Now your 2nd place boat just coming across the start and finish line, 23 seconds behind the leader, and there will be a lapping right now on the Miss Seattle in 3rd place. Miss Seattle has completed 7 laps, but the rest of the boat, the first two boats are in 8th. They're in their 9th lap. Spokane 23 seconds behind the leader. Muncie and Miss Tripway off the exit buoy of the far side on the south turn, halfway up the backstretch now, and moving very nicely. He had 109 miles an hour around. You can see what Muncie has in mind. He wants that total elapsed time factor to be in his favor when he goes into that 3rd heat, so he can sit back then drive in about 3rd or 4th position if he has to. Gale 6 is still on the course and still a little bit sick, so you have 4 out of the 7 that were selected for this heat still on the course. The Wahoo is out of it, so is the Breathless. And the U.S. is down on the course. Over in the middle of the infield there, just past the Miss Spokane, which is coming up the course at the moment. Meanwhile, the lead boat coming down off the left-hand corner, the Miss Tripway, pitching down close to that buoy. Well, that was a real duel out there between those two kids. They really went at each other on those corners. Down to the 1,000-foot mark comes the Miss Tripway, and Bill is having some rough going out there. Past the 1,000-foot mark, and at the end of lap number 9, your lead boat, Miss Tripway. And the 2nd place boat is just now coming through the north corner. He has lapped Miss Seattle, who is in 3rd place. Off the exit buoy of the left-hand side, which is the north turn, the Miss Spokane, Norm Evans, her driver. You see the Gale 6 tooling around in there slowly, and the 3rd place boat on the inside corner is Miss Seattle. The Gale 6 is in 4th place. Stay alive, that's the motto of the day. Spokane in 2nd place is 26 seconds behind the leader. Your leader is going into the south corner, and the Miss Spokane is moving into the south turn area. Miss Seattle gets across the line in 3rd place at the end of her 8th lap. Now the lead boat off the exit buoy of the south corner, Miss Tripway. And the Gale 6 just gets across the line now in 4th place at the end of her 7th lap. Brother, is that boat going slowly. Halfway up the backstretch, the lead boat in Heat 2A, Miss Tripway, driven by Bill Muncie, twice a champion in this Gold Cup division. The 2nd place boat, some 24 seconds behind, coming off the exit buoy of the south corner, is the Miss Spokane. That's your relative difference of the two, and the 3rd place boat just rounding out of the bottom part of the south corner is Miss Seattle, driven by Dallas Sarch. And the top place boat coming off the north corner, coming down now past the exit buoy, Muncie chopping down now and saving as much time as he can, getting ready to get the finish line on the checkered flag. Coming down to the 1,000-foot mark. He had 107 miles an hour around for the last time. Here he comes, 500 feet away from the end of lap number 10 for your winner of Heat 2A, Bill Muncie and Miss Tripway. Tripway with a 1st and a 3rd place finish, and a great total elapsed time picture for herself. Meanwhile, the Miss Spokane, the 2nd place boat, who led for a portion of the race, in a great 2-boat duel with Bill Muncie and Miss Tripway, comes off the corner to our left, out of the north side of the course. Here he is, off the exit buoy now, coming down to the 1,000-foot mark. Muncie in the 5 laps that we clocked him when he was a leader, 105, 104, 109, 107, and 107. Miss Spokane, 2nd place finish. 33 seconds behind the leader. And the 3rd place boat, Miss Seattle. What a tremendous job this boat has done. The former slow motion 5. The time the first boat goes across the line to when the last boat must finish. 30 minutes in all is what we had, and he didn't quite make it. I don't know whether they're going to get the red flag up and wave him off the course. So it was a game effort, but it wasn't quite enough. Wahoo being waved off the course after a gallant effort. And he has 400 points. So here's the ruling on that. Do we have a ruling? You check the book on it? Mira Slovak coming over here now next to the barge. The red flag is up, and they will so notify him that he failed to finish within the 30-minute time period of the start of the heat. And he gets a big hand. Big hand from Mira Slovak. Mira Slovak, a very gallant youngster who didn't quite make it within the 30-minute time limit between the start of the heat and the actual finish of the last boat. 105.820 for the Thriftway, 17 minutes and 6/10 of a second on his totally lapsed time. We still have another heat coming up, and that means we're not going to have much rest as far as we're concerned here between these two sections. The Hawaii Kai, closely pursued by Nitrogen, and the Maverick still tooling her way around very slowly, trying to come up to that inside corner. Hawaii Kai coming around on the outside. Colroy trying to find the inside corner now, not using too much boat speed as she comes off the exit buoy. Now they're beginning to shape up and get started down in here. Maverick has a good spot if he doesn't get cut off coming down into that buoy, but it looks like he might get turned off a little bit. Now we're getting squared away as Maverick is pinched up in the pocket, but here we go. About 10 seconds to go, and they're everybody up on the line. Maverick is coming up on the inside corner with Nitrogen, and we're coming down to that line. Hawaii Kai on the outside corner, and there we go. Hawaii Kai and the Colroy into the water before the start of the race. Bobby Larson having engine trouble as they go into the south corner. Here they come, all abreast. On the inside corner, that's the Maverick. And Dunnington and Miss Nitrogen next to him. And now they begin to cut across as they get boat room. Whoa, look at that spray that kid ran through. All right, here we go. It's Maverick going into the first corner. Colroy gets across the line to get the race started. 7 and all are started. Out of the exit buoy, it is the Hawaii Kai who is running second to the Maverick coming off the corner, but Dunnington on the inside corner with the Nitrogen is not giving way to him. Now, Hawaii Kai comes to the outside corner, and brother, look at that kid move. Hawaii Kai, the defending champion now, and Bill Stead gives back the challenge, and Hawaii Kai has to fall off. Bill Stead halfway up the corner now as the field begins to string out in a hurry. 3/4 of the way up the backstretch. Hawaii Kai trying to come up real hard. In second place on your late boat Maverick as they go to the north corner, and Don Dunnington and Miss Nitrogen makes his bid, followed by Gale 5. And we have... Off the top part of the left corner, we have Maverick, closely pursued by Hawaii Kai, who comes to the outside now, ready to take Donnie Dunnington. The battle for second and third as they pinch off real tight down. It looks like Dunnington is going to have running room out there if Hawaii Kai squeezes him much more. Maverick coming down to the 1,000-foot mark. 500 feet away from the end of lap number 1. End of lap 1 for your lead boat Maverick. In second place is Hawaii Kai. 108 miles an hour for Maverick, first time around. In second place is Hawaii Kai. In third place is Nitrogen. Fourth place is Gale 5. And Colroy is in fifth place. Looks like Pay and Save is down to the course. Now we're going into the south corner. Colroy is in last place. Maverick coming off the exit buoy of the south corner. Closely pursued by Hawaii Kai and Don Dunnington, Miss Nitrogen in third place. This is the second of 10 times around the course. Colroy gets across the line at the end of her first lap. She is quite a distance behind the leader. Gale 5 in fourth place is 14 seconds behind. Nitrogen in third is 6 seconds behind. Colroy 47 seconds behind. Hawaii Kai falling back a little bit now on Maverick. Maverick 3/4 of the way up the backstretch, leading in this the second lap. In second place is Hawaii Kai, 5 seconds behind. In third place is Miss Nitrogen, driven by Don Dunnington. And in fourth place is Gale 5. Pay and Save down off the south corner, dead in the water. In the left turn, we have Maverick, the lead boat, out of the north corner. Coming down now fairly tight to the buoy line. Hawaii Kai is closely pursuing her. Ryan Weigel wasn't able to pick up any points in the last one. He wants them here to get into that final heat if he can. Down to the 1,000-foot mark comes Maverick, a real going concern. 500 feet away from the end of lap number 2. 108 miles an hour for the first time. And Bill's having trouble out there controlling his boat. She's porpoising badly on him. Hawaii Kai coming across. The defending champion is now 8 seconds behind the leader. As they go to the south corner, here's your lead boat. Watch the bouncing action of that boat. Bill's driving her real hard. He may get in over his head. Nitrogen across in third place is 16 seconds behind the leader. And Gale 5 in fourth place finishes his second lap and now is 24 seconds behind the leader as we're here in the south corner with Maverick. And the driving ability of Bill Stead is shown clearly on your screen for you. Notice the difference in technique between himself and Bill Muncy. In the race for first and second, Hawaii Kai has drifted back a little bit now, having trouble through that south corner. Maverick off the exit buoy of the south corner, getting up her top end of speed in a hurry as she moves away from Hawaii Kai as Brian Weigel is slow in acceleration coming off the south corner. Halfway up the backstretch, the Maverick liking to run out in front the best. And the Conroy, still running in fifth place, finishes her second lap. The second place boat is halfway up the backstretch, some 8 seconds behind the leader. That's Hawaii Kai. And your third place boat, Don Dunnington and Nitrogen, going with consistent speed, Gale 5 in fourth place. In first place in the left-hand corner, moving now, Bill Stead with Maverick to the left-hand corner. Closely pursued, 8 seconds behind by Hawaii Kai. This is running of Heat 2B. We're in the third lap. Your lead boat coming off the exit buoy, Maverick. And Don Dunnington goes to the entrance buoy of the north corner on the far side of the course. Closely pursued by Gale 5. Race for first and second. Down to the 1,000-foot mark comes Maverick. Up the exit buoy of the left-hand corner is Hawaii Kai, driven by Brian Weigel. End of lap number 3 for Maverick. As Bill is still having trouble with her. She's really behaving badly. Meanwhile, Hawaii Kai seems to be having trouble with her acceleration. Over the line goes Hawaii Kai. Now she's 12 seconds behind the leader. Here's the speed, 108, 108, 106. So it looks like Maverick wants to pick up that. And it's a legal start. Don Dunnington in Miss Nitrogen finding some rough water out there as he gets across. And we look to the south corner to get the lead boat. Maverick moving out in front of Hawaii Kai in second place. Don Dunnington and Nitrogen in third place just across the line. Gale 5 just now coming across the line. 35 seconds behind the leader. On the screen, you have Hawaii Kai now moving through the south corner. Now, notice how far over Brian Weigel leans. This is normal, of course, because you can't see as well out of this type of boat as he can when he's driving in front, so he probably feels a little bit awkward. Your lead boat halfway up the backstretch, and this, the fourth time around the course. Maverick leading, turning out 108, 108, and 106 miles an hour. He almost lost it again at that three-quarter mark. In second place, running a good, strong second, about 12 seconds behind at the end of his third lap. Now in his fourth lap is Hawaii Kai. In third place, just coming off the exit buoy of the right-hand corner, out of the south part of the course, is the Miss Nitrogen, driven by Don Dunnington. In fourth place, coming off the exit buoy, is the Gale 5. The Gale 5 is 35 seconds behind the leader. The Nitrogen in third place is 27 seconds behind the leader. Carl Roy in fifth place, and last is a minute 15 behind the leader. Coming off the exit buoy to the left-hand side, down to the 1,000-foot mark at the end of his fourth lap, is Maverick, running in first place. Bill starts his fifth lap in first place. And what did we have for the fourth time around for Maverick? Prior to that, we had 108, 108, and 106. And now we come to the fourth lap and 109 miles an hour. Second place boat is Hawaii Kai. End of his fourth lap in second place, he's 16 seconds behind the leader. In third place, Don Dunnington in Nitrogen coming off the left-hand corner. Dunnington is getting ready to finish his fourth lap. And in fifth place, closely behind him, is the Gale 5. Don Dunnington coming down now to the line. And your first place boat coming off the exit buoy of the right-hand corner. And the Pay and Save is up and rolling, getting ready to complete her first lap in sixth place. Chuck Hickling gets ready with Pay and Save in his sixth place at the end of her first lap. Trails the leaders by some 5 laps. Gale 5 gets across the line in fourth place, 54 seconds behind the leader. The first place boat is Maverick, 3/4 of the way up the backstretch, and this her fifth time around the course. She is out in front of second place Hawaii Kai by 16 seconds or better. 108, 108, 106, and 109 for the boat that you see on your screen, the Maverick. And at this rate, he could come in with a better time than Bill Muncy. He must finish this one in 17:29 in order to tie Muncy in Miss Swiftway, who has already completed his 60 miles. Still, we have 5 laps to go. Anything can happen, probably will. Calroy gets across the line in 5th place at the end of her 4th lap. She is a minute and 36 seconds behind the leader. Maverick coming across the line at the end of her 5th lap, leading in this race with Hawaii Kai running in 2nd place, just coming off the exit buoy to our left, the north side of the course. There can be a lapping of Calroy, the last place boat in Heat 2B, and that could happen someplace up the backstretch. The Pay and Save and the Gale 5 running over there side by side, but the Pay and Save is about 3 laps behind the Gale 5. Hawaii Kai gets across the line. And on your screen here you see two boats that have no relation to each other. The Gale 5 running up on the inside corner is running in 4th place, 54 seconds behind the leader as he's getting ready to complete his 5th time around the course, running in 4th place. Coming out of the north corner, and then behind him is the Pay and Save. The lead boat. The lead boat gets a lapping on the Calroy halfway up the backstretch. There's a lapping on Calroy, the last place boat, the 5th place boat. Don Dunnington completes his last lap in the nitrogen in 3rd place. Pay and Save still in 6th place, finishes her 2nd lap. And the Gale 5 in 4th place, and she is now a minute and 8 seconds behind the leader. In the north turn, the lead boat is Maverick. Calroy is back of her, but she's a lap behind. She's in last place. And the Hawaii Kai in 2nd place is about halfway up the backstretch. Some 21 seconds behind the lead boat as we get ready to complete the 6th lap of a 10-lap 2B feature. Running fairly wide off the buoy marker out of the north turn, Hawaii Kai moves into the entrance buoy of the north turn as the Maverick comes down to the 1,000-foot mark. Over the line at the end of lap number 6 goes Maverick, running in 1st place. And keep that boat in mind, because that boat runs out of the Lake Mead Yacht Club at Las Vegas, Nevada. And if she wins the Gold Cup, they'll take it down there. The Calroy gets across the line in 5th place. In the right turn, we have Maverick. Coming down in there now. 104 miles an hour for Bill in the 6th lap. On the 5th lap, he had 106. He can't afford to back up too much. He wants that total elapsed time. Boy, it could be quite a duel between himself and Miss Swiftway as we go to that final heat. He will be some 75 points in front of the Swiftway if Maverick stays on the way he is. Your lead boat just off the exit buoy of the south corner, a quarter of the way up the backstretch, leading by some 26 seconds. Maverick, 26 seconds behind in 2nd place is Hawaii Kai, coming through the bottom part of the south corner. And in 3rd place is Nitrogen, a minute behind the leader, just now getting across the line at the end of his 6th lap. We're in the 7th lap for the lead boat, Maverick. Pay and Save coming across to finish his 3rd lap in 6th place. And then directly behind him is the Gale 5 in 4th place, and she will be better than a minute behind the leader as she finishes her 6th lap. She's a minute and 19 seconds behind the leader. The lead boat coming out of the left-hand corner, that's Maverick. Bill Stetter, driver. He's driving out in front. That's where he likes to do the best work. Off the 1,000-foot mark now, coming down to the end of his 7th lap. 104 miles an hour the last time around the course. Now in this, the 7th time around the course, 107 miles an hour. Woo-wee. Here's the Maverick coming down now into the south corner. Bill Stead really stomping on her. Despite the balancing difficulties that he seems to be having, the boat looks like it's porpoising, but I guess it might be just our illusion here on the barge. He doesn't seem to be backing off too much. He hasn't had one lap under 104 miles an hour. There you get a good shot of his driving technique as he's halfway through the south corner. Meanwhile, the rest of the field is pretty badly spread out. Hawaii Kai is coming down to lap Calroy at the end of her 7th lap in 2nd place. Hawaii Kai, 35 seconds behind the leader, just completed her 7th lap, moves down to the south corner, and the lead boat starts off the exit buoy of the south corner. That's Maverick. Now here's Hawaii Kai going to the south corner. So the field is pretty well spread out. Here's Hawaii Kai. She's moving through the south corner now, and to pick up the lead boat for you, 3/4 way up the backstretch, moving into the north turn, the Maverick leading in this race by some 35 seconds, and this is her 8th time around the course. She moves into the north corner area. Meanwhile, the Nitrogen gets across a minute and 13 seconds behind the leader in 3rd place. And the Pay and Save, pitching badly, gets across in 6th place at the end of her 4th lap. She's about 3 laps behind the leader. Gale 5 comes down now at the 1,000-foot mark as your leader comes out of that north turn area, and there could be a lapping on Gale 5 sometime in the next half lap or so. Meanwhile, the second place boat is running 3/4 of the way up the backstretch and is quite a distance behind the leader. Nitrogen a minute 13 behind the leader, Gale 5 a minute 38 behind the leader. And the leader, Maverick, just getting across the line now, starts to move to the south corner, and this her 9th time around the course. Second place boat is Hawaii Kai, 35 seconds behind the leader at the end of the 7th lap. Now getting ready to complete her 8th lap, and she's fallen even further behind as Maverick, going 105 miles an hour in the 8th lap, is really turning a fast 10 laps out here. Here's the Maverick, as Bill Wagner down there in Phoenix, Arizona Hospital should feel real good about this performance of his boat. The Hawaii Kai gets across the line in second place at the end of her 8th lap. Hawaii Kai is 39 seconds behind the leader. He lost 4 seconds from the last lap. Here's a lapping that takes place for you on Maverick, the leader on the inside, lapping the Gale 5. The Colroy gets across the line in last place at the end of her 7th lap. She's in 5th place, well behind the leader. The second place boat is going into the south corner. That's Hawaii Kai falling further behind as the lead boat, Maverick, moves into the entrance area of the north turn. Here's Pay and Save, still in last place, finishing up her 5th lap. She'll be in 6th place. Coming off the north corner now, the Maverick, who has just lapped the Gale 5 about 3/4 of the way up the backstretch. Gale 5 is running in 4th place, a minute 38 behind the leader. Pay and Save still in 6th place at the end of her 5th lap. Maverick coming down to the 1,000-foot mark at the end of her 9th lap. Gets ready for the green and white flag that signifies she has one more to go, and she'll be the winner of Heat 2B. In her 9th time around the course, the Maverick, driven by Bill Stead and leader in Heat 2B, is checked off at a time of 103 miles an hour. That's the slowest time she's had in 9 laps. Gale 5 gets across the line now, and the 3rd place boat, Nitrogen, is a minute 20 behind the leader in 3rd place. Gale 5 is in 4th place, probably over a minute and a half behind the leader. Hawaii Kai, the leader, comes off the north corner as we watch the action going into the... Hawaii Kai comes off the exit buoy of the left-hand side, and just prior to that, you caught a glimpse of the lead boat, the Maverick, going into the corner as the Gale 5 comes down into the south corner area. Gale 5, as you know, running in 4th place, driven by Bobby Schroeder. The lead boat just coming off the exit buoy of the south corner as Hawaii Kai, the second place boat, just completes her 9th lap, 42 seconds behind the leader. They're pretty well spread out. The lead boat is halfway up the backstretch, and the Gale 5 that she lapped is falling even further behind. The second place boat just going into the entrance area of the south corner. Hawaii Kai, driven by Brian Weigel. He needs the points to get in that final go-round. Colroy gets over the line in last place. Colroy pretty close to 2 minutes behind the leader. The Nitrogen coming down to the 1,000-foot mark as the Maverick comes off the exit buoy. And the Nitrogen in 3rd place is now a minute 27 seconds behind the leader. Pay and Save running in last place at the end of her 6th lap in 6th place. And here comes the winner of Heat 2B at the end of her 10th lap, and leading from wire to wire, Maverick. The Maverick, driven by Bill Stead. Boy, he has a leaping and diving out there, but I guess it stays together, and that's all that counts. Maverick, winner of Heat 2B, picks up 400 points. That gives her a total of 700. And your second place boat, Hawaii Kai, going into the entrance corner of the left-hand side, the north side of the course. Hawaii Kai will pick up a second place finish, and that'll give her a total of 300 points overall. She failed to finish her previous heat elimination. Hawaii Kai coming off the exit buoy of the north corner, where we witnessed that tremendously exciting duel between Norm Evans in Miss Spokane and Bill Muncie in Miss Thriftway. All right, we've just completed the second place boat, Hawaii Kai, 49 seconds behind the leader. Your third place boat, Nitrogen, is coming into the north turn area and will be finishing his 10th lap, and he'll get a third place finish out of it. Point-wise, the Maverick, with a first and a second place finish in her 2 heat eliminations, has 700 points. That gives her 75 points more than the Miss Flipway, who had a third and a first place finish. We'll have a comparison for you on the basic times of the two boats as they have completed 60 miles, and give that to you just as soon as possible. Nitrogen getting across the line in third place. She finished 1 minute and 33 seconds behind the leader. Maverick is about 3/4 of the way up the backstretch, and the Miss Flipway is on the outside of her. I think that, well, I'll guess this, that Maverick will pretty well lay back and see where Bill winds up, and then sort of hang around with him and try not to be too far away at any point. Now they're getting pretty well milled around on the other side. At the moment, as far as the Lake Washington area is concerned, the Pacific Northwest area is concerned, their hopes ride with the former Detroiter, Bill Muncy, coming around now in third position. They're getting pretty well squared away. The third and final heat of the 52nd Annual Gold Cup. Getting ready to go now as all 7 come pinched up in there. Muncy has running room, coming over third over. The Maverick is right next to him. Muncy is coming on real hard now, taking his time. Maverick is right next to Flipway. It's a 2-boat field. Miss Spokane is on the inside. Here they go. Wahoo coming hard now, and there goes Muncy in between boats along with the Maverick. Over the line. Oh, but Miss U.S. dead even as we go here into the south corner. Here's a jet. So here we are. Spokane is on the inside corner. It could be a bad start. We'll just give you that. Now here we are on the south corner. It looks like Miss Spokane. Miss Spokane. And she's followed by Miss Flipway on the outside. And Wahoo is in there real hard. And the Pay and Save is in there real hard, and Flipway lags in fourth place. And back of her is Maverick. As we told you, we thought that Bill Stead would find out where Flipway was and stay with him. Your first and second place boats in this heat, the Miss Spokane. Pay and Save is second. Flipway is coming on, and right behind her is Maverick. These are the 2 boats to watch for the overall picture. And the Nitrogen is back. And the Miss U.S. is now up and going and down in the south corner. As we go into the first corner, Wahoo is coming up now on the outside, looking to get around Spokane. Muncy is crawling up on the third place boat, and Maverick is sticking close to the Miss Flipway. Meanwhile, the top man in this heat is Norm Evans in Miss Spokane. Down to the line comes Mira Slovak in Wahoo. End of lap 1, they're dead even. Pay and Save is third. Miss Flipway is fourth. Maverick is fifth. And Nitrogen is sixth, and U.S. is seventh. Into the right-hand corner. A 2-boat race in this heat between 2 boats who point-wise are pretty much out of contention. Spokane is still first in this heat. However, the 2 boats to watch are Flipway and Maverick. Off the exit buoy, going up the backstretch, is Norm Evans in Miss Spokane, and the Wahoo moving real hard out in first place. Here's the race for first and second in this heat. Wahoo out in front. And in second place is Norm Evans in Miss Spokane. And third place we have the Miss Flipway coming on now. Bill Muncy makes his bid now, going past the Pay and Save and moving into third place. In first place is Spokane. In second place is Wahoo by 1 second at the end of the first lap. In third place is Miss Pay and Save, 6 seconds behind the leader. Flipway is fourth, 9 seconds behind the leader. Maverick is 10 seconds behind the leader. There's just a second difference between Flipway and Maverick. He still has to make up 32 seconds. Maverick going by your screen. U.S. Wahoo over the line at the end of her second lap in first place. Miss Spokane is second, 4 seconds behind the leader. In third place is Miss Flipway. Flipway is 14 seconds behind the leader. In fourth place is the Pay and Save. And in fifth place is Maverick. Into the right turn. Spokane, the leader in this heat, had but 400 points going into this heat. In second place, moving into the south corner area. And your third place boat coming in there is the Miss Whipway. Wahoo is coming off the exit buoy of the right-hand turn. And the fourth place boat. In the fourth place, we have Pay and Save. And Maverick is brought back to fifth. Now Maverick moves up into fourth place and takes off after Whipway, who seems to be having trouble getting acceleration. U.S. is in last place. The Wahoo leading in this heat now, going into the north corner. And the Maverick comes on after the Miss Whipway. There's a two-boat duel out there between the two boats that are in contention for this title. Maverick on the inside corner and Whipway. Your leaders in this heat are Wahoo coming out of the left-hand corner and Spokane. But the boats that everybody has their eyes on are the boats that have finished 60 miles already and are 75 points and 33 seconds apart in time. Muncie comes to the outside corner, running in third place in this heat. The Maverick backs off a little bit. Wahoo gets across the line in first place at the end of her third lap. In second place is Spokane. Here's the two-boat duel for third place in this heat. Muncie on the outside and Maverick on the inside. And there could be your winner of the Gold Cup. Muncie coming on hard now, Miss Whipway in fourth place. Muncie is running second to Maverick in overall points. He's running second to him in this heat. He is 75 points and 33 seconds behind. Here in the final heat, your leader is Wahoo, who has but 400 points in her overall total, and the second place boat is Miss Spokane, who has a total of 395. Spokane is second, 7 seconds behind the leader for this heat, Wahoo. In third place, we have the Maverick with 18 seconds separating himself from the leader. 19 seconds behind the leader is Whipway. We're in the fourth lap. Based on the position of the boats at this particular moment, including bonus points and possible points in the final heat, Maverick would have 1,325, Whipway would have a total of 1,094, and Maverick would be the winner if they stayed as they are right now at this particular point. Now, here we are in the fourth heat, and we get ready to take a look at the two boats out there running side by side as they move into the north turn area. Maverick having the slight edge, moving on the inside of the Whipway, who now starts to move hard and comes around on the top part. But Muncie isn't making up that 33 seconds, that's for sure. They're fighting out there for bonus points and for placement in this heat. Wahoo running in first place in this heat. And the battle for third and fourth goes on between the two boats that have the best chance for the Gold Cup. Spokane gets across the line. She is 7 seconds behind the leader. Muncie is on the outside now, trailing the Maverick, who is in third place in this heat. Whipway is in fourth, a second behind. Maverick is 15 seconds behind the leader, Wahoo, and Whipway is 16 seconds behind the leader. The rest of the field sprung out. In fifth place is the Pay and Save, and last place is US 1. Going into the right-hand corner, your leader in this heat is the Wahoo, driven by Mira Slovak. In second place is the Spokane. And the boats that everybody's watching are the two boats that potentially have the best opportunity for the Gold Cup because they finished 60 miles and they have the best total elapsed time. Maverick is running out in front of Whipway by about a second and a half as they go out of that right-hand corner. They're in third and fourth position, respectively, in this heat. Halfway up the backstretch, the leader in this heat is the Wahoo. And about 5 seconds behind her is the Miss Spokane. U.S. just went across the line in seventh place. She is 1 minute and 4 seconds in this heat behind the leader. Here are the third and fourth place position boats in this heat, the two boats that have the top point totals and the best elapsed time for the overall race. Maverick is in third place, leading by a half second over the Miss Whipway, running hard at her and trying to make up 33 seconds and 75 points. That's the story in a nutshell. The Wahoo and the Spokane running 1-2 in this heat have no chance to win so long as the Whipway and the Maverick stay alive out there. But you have a real swell race going on here for first and second place in this heat. In fact, the four boats are very tightly grouped physically for this heat position. Wahoo coming down now to the end of her lap effort, leading at the end of the fifth lap. Wahoo out in front. In second place is Miss Spokane. She is 6 seconds behind. In third place is the Maverick. She is 12 seconds behind. And the Miss Tripway is in fourth position, 13 seconds behind the leader. So Maverick now has a difference of 3, so here they are. As they now stand, figuring in bonus points and possible points in the final heat, the Maverick has a total of 1,325. The Thriftway has 1,094 if they stay as they are. Spokane has a total of 864 if they stay as they are. Coming out of the south corner, the lead boat in this heat is the Wahoo, followed by the Spokane. And in third place is Maverick, who is topped in overall total elapsed time and in overall points. And the Miss US-1 is turning down, trying to get off the course just off the exit buoy to our left, the north side of the course. Now this could be a little bit of trouble out here. Let's see, he's trying to get off the course. Looks like he's got a flame in his stack. Here's the race for third and fourth as we go up the backstretch. In this, the sixth time around the course, Maverick is leading the Thriftway in this particular duel for third and fourth place. Maverick is out in front in third place by about a second and a half. The race for first and second in this heat, Wahoo the leader, followed by Miss Spokane, who's been crawling up on Wahoo, and there could be quite a duel out here to see who's going to be the winner of this third heat. But the winner of the race will be decided between the Maverick and the Miss Thriftway as they duel it out with 75 points and 33 seconds difference between them as they go into this heat. Wahoo coming down now past the 1,000-foot mark, ready to finish lap number 6 in first place. Mira Slovak getting across the line, followed by Miss Spokane. She is 4 seconds behind. The battle for third and fourth has Maverick across the line now in third place, 9 seconds behind the leader, and the Miss Thriftway is in fourth place, 13 seconds behind the leader. So Maverick now has a total difference of 37 seconds between the two boats as he begins to pull away from the Miss Thriftway, who's finding a lot of rough water out there. There's a big duel on the north corner on the left-hand side as we watch the first place boat go through the south corner. Here comes the second place boat, the Miss Spokane, on the south corner. And the third place boat will be right behind her, the Maverick, followed by Thriftway in fourth place. Pay and Save is holding off in fifth place, closely pursued by Nitrogen in fifth. And the U.S. is out of it, off the course. And it looks like the Maverick has missed the buoy and has to go back. Yes, she does. Bill Stead missed the buoy. And now Maverick is dropped way back in fourth place, and Bill can pick up that 33 seconds. And watch him go now. He's in third place. Bill Stead spun out in the south corner and missed the buoy and had to go back and pick it up. And so here goes Muncie now with a real chance in Miss Thriftway. So you have 75 points and about 37 seconds to make up. There was 4 seconds difference in the two boats as they went through the south corner. Here we go. It's a boat race. And the thing that Lou Fagel mentioned evidently came true. Muncie. And here comes the Maverick. Boy, he's trying to make up the time. Well, Lou, what do you think? Do you think that the Thriftway pushed him back into the Maverick and caused him to race him?
Well, it's hard to say. He suckered him into a duel, I know that, and this could make the boat race for Bill Muncie.
Right. Okay, well, let's take a look at the field now. Wahoo is first across the line at the end of the 7th lap. Spokane is second across. She is 5 seconds behind. And in third place is the Miss Thriftway as Muncie really starts to drive hard. And the fourth place boat is well back. Now let's try to find out the difference between the two. Muncie is now 12 seconds behind the leader. And let's see what he is behind the Maverick. Oh, and he's hopping and skipping around out there. I believe he spun out down the south corner down there. Had to go back. Here comes the Maverick. Boy, hopping and skipping along. In the south corner. Wait a minute, the Thriftway is coming off the south corner now and starting a drive on Spokane. Muncie starts his drive now, coming out of the south corner. Here's the difference between the two. Thriftway is 12 seconds behind the leader. Maverick is 37 seconds behind the leader. And there is 25 second difference between Maverick and Thriftway. He's picked up 25 seconds. Now, based on their appearance, as they are on the course at this moment, Maverick would finish with 1,269 points, Thriftway with 1,150, Wahoo with 800, Spokane with 864. Here's your race for first, second, and third. Wahoo is out in front in this heat, but the big boat to watch is Muncie in this Thriftway as he tries to pick up 33 seconds. And Spokane is on the inside corner now, coming off the corner and probably will be in front. Yes, she is. As she comes off the exit buoy, Muncie is saving ground, though, coming up to the inside corner, and he's going to be in contention. Meanwhile, the Maverick is coming slowly up the backstretch, just entering the north corner area. Wahoo is out in front as they end lap number 8. Spokane in second, and this Thriftway is third. Thriftway is now 3 seconds behind the leader. And here comes the Maverick. Don't forget that Bill Muncie has to pick up 33 seconds. Probably a little bit more than that, because at the end of the 7th lap, I think that he was about 34, maybe 35, 36 seconds behind. Then at the 7th lap, he picked up 25 seconds. So he's still behind. Here's the Maverick. As they go into the south corner, Mira Slovak on a slight edge with Miss Spokane leading in this heat. Now the Thriftway comes charging at him. 24 seconds. Thriftway is 22 seconds ahead of Maverick, but that's not enough. He needs still about 11 more seconds. He needs 11 more seconds. Will he get it? He has one more lap to get. Here comes the Thriftway pouring on the cores. Bill Muncie making his charge now, trying to pick up time. That's what he's looking for, as the Maverick fights to stay in the race, coming out of the south corner. Meanwhile, your leader in this race is the Wahoo, and he's dropped back, and Muncie has gone by both of them in the backstretch and is now in first place. Muncie is in first place going into the left-hand corner with the Wahoo second and the Spokane third. Maverick is 25 seconds behind the lead boat. Wahoo is no longer the leader. The Thriftway is the leader. Dunnington goes by in the nitrogen in 6th place, about 1 minute and 30 seconds behind the leader. Here comes Muncie off the corner now, getting ready to come down to the 1,000-foot mark at the end of his 9th lap. He is out in front in this boat race. And the Wahoo is second. In 3rd place is Spokane in this heat. Muncie is looking for 33 seconds. Now let's see where Maverick is in relation to that lead boat, which happens to be the Miss Thriftway, the boat that he has to beat. That spin out could cost him this. Let's see what he's got. Here he goes, over the line, goes the Maverick in 4th place. He is 21 seconds behind the leader. Muncie still has 1 lap to go, and he has to pick up 12 seconds. Can he do it? He still has 12 seconds to pick up. So, based on the way they are now, on the course at the moment, Maverick would have a total of 1,269 points. Thriftway, 1,325. Wahoo, 700. Spokane, not in there. Now let's go back through the field. Thriftway is leading in the race in this 3rd heat, moving halfway up the backstretch. In 2nd place is the Wahoo. In 3rd place is Miss Spokane. In 4th place, just coming off the exit buoy of the right-hand corner, is the Maverick. And in 5th place is Don Dunnington. And it looks like we have trouble with the nitrogen as the pay and save stays in there. And Muncie is really flying, trying to pick up that time. He's coming around now in his 10th and final time. And the Maverick is really moving because he wants to hold that 33-second edge if he can. But of course, he's pretty far back in the field. Muncie's moved into 1st place. But those bonus points are important. But not enough. Nitrogen coming down across the line now. Moving in 6th place, 1 minute and 40 seconds behind the leader. Here comes Muncie, winner of heat number 3. Bill Muncie gets across the line, winner of heat number 3. Here comes the 2nd place boat in this heat, Wahoo. And the 3rd place boat in this heat, Miss Spokane. And the 4th place boat, here comes the Maverick, who started out this race 33 seconds and 75 points ahead of Muncie. Now then, let's add up the time as we wait for the rest of the field to complete. Maverick finished 19 seconds behind the leader on our clock unofficially. So for all practical purposes, he didn't pick up enough time, so the bonus points would go to Maverick unofficially. However, let's take a check on what the difference in position is, because Maverick was 4th. And maybe Bill Muncie can add it up for us. And that's the way the top finishers came across the line. We'll round out the field in just a moment. This is the action of Seattle's 9th major unlimited hydroplane regatta, the annual Gold Cup Classic, being held in Lake Washington in Seattle.